Welcome, everybody. It's glad to see everybody here today. We have a nice sized group today for our webinar on low-tech AT and making. We have Scout with us. I will turn it over to him in just 1 second. For those who I have never met before, I look forward to meeting you at some point in the future. I'm Mike Murata. I'm the director of the Richard West Assistive Technology Advocacy Center and your host for this afternoon. We are very excited to have Scout with us. I had the pleasure of seeing Scout present at ATIA on this a similar topic. I feel like today might be a little different, but a similar topic, and it was fantastic. And I don't doubt that it's going to be great again today. So quick reminders, we are recording this. The captions are on. Please feel free to turn them on if you need them. Feel free to enter things in the chat if you would like. And then we will go from there. People have already asked Scout if he has any hats planned today, and I hope he does, because I can easily grab my wool hat that sits over here to the side of my desk at any point. So hopefully that will happen. So without any further goofing around, I will turn it over to you, Scout. Thanks for being here today.
All right. Hey, thanks. First, thanks, Richard. What is it? Richard West?
Richard West, Assistive Tech Advocacy Center.
Yes. So thank you, Mike and Naomi and the Richard West Center for having me, and thanks all of you for joining today. And I need all right, Mike, I see you in the picture. I don't know if that's just my view.
I don't know why you see me in the picture. I turned my camera off. Wait, I'll do it again.
Yeah, anyway, so if everybody else can see me, that's great, because I do not have a PowerPoint today. Oh, so I hope I don't disappoint you. It is just me. And we're here to talk about just some low-tech stuff. So Mike and I were talking beforehand. Basically, I want everyone to know that anyone can be a maker. It's not about soldering and servo motors and all of that. I mean, it is, but that's not everything. If you saw me at ATIA, I'm going to go over a couple of those things, but because we're in a shorter period and I have a couple of other things, we're going to just do things a little differently. Okay, so the first and most important step to making, hold on just 1 second, is you must have your maker's goggles. So anything is possible as long as you have the right pair of maker's goggles. So it's just about how you see the world. So mine, as you can see, are made out of some disposable utensils, because right now we probably all have a few of the carry-out utensils. Okay, so once you have those in place, you know, the world is your oyster. What are we going to do? So today we talked, I said that we were going to do a iPad stands and handles. So let's let's talk about the first one. So this is my first iPad stand. And this is one I showed before. So for those of you who've seen it, you can take a rest. The thing with this is it takes a super long time to make. Oh, and there's a handout, and it's all in the handout. The only supplies you need, basically a blade and lots of cardboard. I've done a couple of things that I can point out to you. This middle section is small. There, I have about 10 pieces in each outside section that are large, but the middle section is small. It's just filler. The thing that's important is your cuts for your tablet or iPad to stand in. I used the edge of the cardboard for the bottom so that it would all be flat, and then as carefully as I could cut this, because you want your device to rest comfortably. Now, the other thing to remember is you want this little groove here just a little bit bigger than your iPad with a case. because your case is going to angle, or your iPad is going to angle. So you have to take into account for that. You don't want to cut the whole thing and then have your device standing straight up, because that's the only way it fits in. So that's just the note. Give it a little bit of wiggle room. Better to have a little bit more than not enough. And the one thing I did, which I thought was kind of fun and useful. Sorry, my iPad is in here. So I'm just going to use it. Is I put some more cardboard that came out a lot to me like a turkey head, that an iPad can sit in. You have to wiggle it in there for it to stand, but that held the iPad in really nicely. All right, now this is cardboard, obviously. And a lot of things that can be made with cardboard could also be made with I forget its technical name, the plastic, corrugated plastic. This is not your best option for corrugated plastic. It takes so much and you have to cut everything on angles. The best thing about the corrugated plastic is you can make really straight cuts really quickly, and making all these angled cuts would just be a drag. So use cardboard if you want to make something like this. The rubber band, spray adhesive. Spray adhesive is super easy. Hot glue would work. The rubber band is just for a little extra support and a little tension, anti-skid. But I myself am a big fan of the spray adhesive. Okay, so I'm going to remove my maker's goggles because it's time to move on to other projects. So safety first. We have our safety goggles now. I want to show this stand because this is actually one of my favorites because it can be made in like 2 minutes. This is a great option to do with your corrugated plastic board. The thing about this one is it requires very little anything. It's one long piece of cardboard. Again, it's all in the handout, the length. You can just bend cardboard. You can cut it to make it bend more easily. I don't, because then it will make it break down a little bit more easily. I did a workshop and I had a woman who took rulers and used them for the bottom of this, which I think is great because it makes it a little bit more sturdy. I hope everybody can see this. I'm sorry if you wished I did a PowerPoint, but I think everybody's tired of that. All right. So you just bend 1 inch at the bottom, both sides going the same way. So we're going, you can't see this. We're going, this one is bent in, up, down, and out. And then it sits on those 2 pieces at the bottom with binder clips. The piece I love about this one, the only thing smart that I did is take your binder clip and you flip it straight up. And then this short piece, in the directions, there's a short piece with 2 angled little cuts. And your binder clip, that goes in there, and your binder clip holds that to make your trough. So if you can see that, that is just your binder clip holding that front piece of cardboard there. That's the only one that has to be sized a particular way, but your binder clip holds that in there. And again, 2 minutes, this thing is done. And it can be made and then folded flat with the corrugated plastic. Okay. I'm sorry, handout for today. Great. Okay. So those are 2 easy, well, one's long, but one is super quick of the stands. I have two handles. One is old, one is new. This one is pipe insulation. If you've never used pipe insulation, it's kind of a weird but super cheap and foamy material. You can buy it at the hardware store, and I think it's $3 for 6 feet. So, you know, you take 3 feet for this project, and you're starting at $1.50. I have these rubber bands that are 5-inch rubber bands, and I put one at the top and the foam insulation comes pre-slit. Super nice. You just slide it over. In this case, I'm using a stand-in DVD, but your iPad or other tablet, and put your rubber bands around. And basically you can be done that fast with the rubber band at the top and the bottom. And it holds really tight. I attempted to do some 3D printed clips, but I failed. I did do one out of Instamorph. So this one fits around, and it's real snug on an iPad with an OtterBox. And it just keeps that from having anything across the front of the screen. I put some tape on top to make the pipe insulation last a little longer, so, you know, sweaty hands wouldn't deteriorate it. So that's that one, if nobody has any questions. And then I came up with this other kind of handle. So here's actually in the iPad. So this one, where's my clip? Again, I have an iPad with an OtterBox. This one takes a jumbo binder clip, and the hose that comes on, I think it's a CPAP machine, right? Like, this is kind of everywhere. If you work with enough people, somebody has old tubing at home, and it doesn't even matter if it's used, because you can just dip it in bleach water. But a lot of people have new tubing that they don't need. So I just cut off a piece. If you can see, mine is yellow because I really just threw some yellow paper in there. So I slit up the side, and I think I counted about 14 ridges, and then put it over the edge. So the trick with this is you want it long enough so that your binder clip is completely on there. I left one ridge of the hose at the bottom. So then you just take out the handles, the wire handles, and you can't get it off. So basically, a child can't remove this handle if that's a need. Now, and it's, again, it's a holding, the hose is pretty tough. The clips are holding tight. It's pretty great. The one downside, and if somebody has a solution for this, you know, let us all know. So you have to make sure your binder clip isn't on your screen, which this works pretty well. You have to make sure it's below, otherwise it'll scratch the screen. And there are some apps that have information up in the corner, like a back button. And so this wouldn't really work. It won't work for every application on an iPad because it does cover a piece of that screen, and I can't see a way around that. So maybe limited, but really useful. So again, if a child or a person wants to hold their own or throw it on a wheelchair, whatever it is, it's just a handy little handle. Anybody have any questions or comments? I see chat things. Anything I need to know at this point? Okay, I'm gonna say I'm not gonna look at that. All right, so there are the stands and handles, but we're not gonna stop there because because I want to show some PVC stuff. So I'm going to assume, because we all said this was a beginner session. So if you have not worked with PVC, it's time to put on your glasses and get some tools and work with some PVC. So if we're going to start at the beginning, this is a PVC pipe cutter. There's different kinds. I like this one, just ratcheting. I got mine for about $10. They go from, you know, they're 10, 12, 20. They're not very expensive. I had some people who had trouble squeezing them, so they laid it on the table and pushed down. I liked that solution for somebody who didn't have a lot of hand strength. I always use 1/2-inch PVC, but I go for the Schedule 40. If you look at various PVCs, some have really thin walls and some have thicker walls. So the thicker walls are actually better. It's a little bit, it may be a little bit harder to cut. It doesn't deform when you cut. And sometimes when you have little pieces. So if you have something made out of PVC, if you've got a little piece sticking out, it's hard to grab and it's hard to pull out. So you just get a pair of pliers and pull that out really simply. But if you have the thin walled PVC, you can deform that. When you grab it, it'll bend and then you can't get it back in. And the whole thing with this is mix and match. I have all these pieces and I just shove them in and use them for everything. And so it doesn't really cost any more to get the thick walled. So just, that's what I recommend. And that is generally called Schedule 40. So look at that. Don't be afraid of PVC. The tip I like to give people is it comes in 10-foot lengths. Super, super cheap. Comes in 10-foot lengths. So when you first go to buy it, your tip is either buy your pipe cutters the same day or bring them with you. So bring them with you. And when you get out to your car with these 10-foot lengths into your little Volkswagen or Volkswagen, whatever you're driving, just cut your PVC in half, throw it in the car. If you have a project that needs a really long piece, then, you know, just kind of take a tape measure, measure your piece out, cut that off. But mostly if you cut it in half, you're good to go. And then it all fits in your car. So try things with PVC because it's really cheap. It's quite rigid. You can make awesome things like an iPad hugger. There's a pretty well-known stand. It's in the handout. It comes from Instructables. So you can make that. And then I took that base and I added arms. This is arms on each side. And then I added a back, and all the lengths and materials are in the handout, and then a front cap. And you can slide an iPad into there. It's gonna catch on these front feet. And you can crank that in there to hold it. And then you've got complete access to your iPad, but it's held in place. So one thing to know about PVC is these are what are called push fittings, right? So they just push on. You can get PVC glue and glue them on, and then they won't come off. You can also use all your Superman strength and push it really tight. The cuts should be made so that you can push it on as tight as possible, and it should all still fit together, and it will be then hard to get out, but you can still remove it. But to get this piece out, I'm telling you, I'm going to need a tool. Okay, So push fittings, you can use your super strength or just slide them on there, whichever works. But this iPad hugger will then hold that. One thing I'm going to show you, because somebody asked me, well, how do you keep this on a table or a wheelchair tray? So I took rigid foam insulation, and actually this is not sized for this particular device. So the rigid foam insulation, I just cut out 2 ridges. Like I said, it's not sized for this one, but then I would place it over, let's pretend it's sized, place it over either the stand or this hugger. And then I used a gate belt and wrapped it around a wheelchair tray. And that held it in place. That's if you really need to hold it in place. Of course, you can just use Dyson, you know, the dollar store placemats, things like that to hold it in place. But if you really need to clamp it down and without a clamp, you know, rigid foam insulation and gate belt, which I found gate belts were kind of everywhere, work. All right. Oh. Then I found this on Instructables, which I loved. And see here, I have just used pieces. This is not a necessary piece, but I didn't have one piece long enough. So I just shoved 2 together to make this height. This is a portable scanner. So of course, the nice thing, it's just got a base, an arm going up and an arm out. So of course, you can take that arm out and carry it in a backpack. The only tricky thing about this scanner is the binder clip. And it might not look tricky, but this binder clip is designed to hold a phone. So it's going to hold my phone like that. So to make it hold the phone, there's some tricky work that needed done. So here's the binder clip. I have a vice grip. And so I put the binder clip into the vice grip to bend it. These wire pieces are pretty strong. I do recommend a vice grip. There's probably other ways to bend them. And then, so if you can get them bent, and then it just takes a rubber band around them to bring that tension to hold the phone. Actually, that's providing this tension. But if you can get that done on a jumbo binder clip, it fits over the PVC, and then will hold most size phones. So that scanner works really well with Seeing AI. Okay. Now, does anybody have any questions about anything? I have one more thing I want to show you. I think we're good. All right. Okay. So PVC. If you're skilled at using PVC, that's great. If you are brand new to using PVC, it's great. It's no problem. All these are really doable. But this next project is so cool. It's so cool. I need my sunglasses. It's really fun. So the thing I have to do is I have this tiny office, and I'm kind of a mess. So I have to move my camera over to show you this piece. And so if you don't like roller coasters, I'm going to suggest that you close your eyes for 1 second. Okay. All right. So here's my switch and my power link. I'm going to step on this switch, turn on my power link, and turn on my balloon wind tunnel. So this is just a box around, oh, we have a escapee. This is just a box around, a PVC box around a box fan and two dollar store shower curtains. One wouldn't quite wrap up the whole thing. Hold on a sec. And all right, back. All right, so that was my piece de resistance. So if there in the handout, there is a link to the video. So I think I put all the directions in the handout, but there's also a video that shows how to put it together on YouTube. And if you have any questions, you can feel free to contact me. We did this we put streamers on the bottom. That was kind of fun. We put some ribbon across the top because sometimes the balloons were just like falling out, which is also fun. But it's been really fun having this around. And that was, oh my gosh. So if people have questions, I would love to hear them at this point.
Hey, Scout, we had a question from Adam in the chat about the scanner. You showed the scanner stand.
Yes.
Talk a little bit about the scanner and what you were using it for.
So that goes really well, works with Seeing AI. It's an app, it's an iOS app. So if you are needing to use OCR, so have a document read out loud, that scanner will hold your phone at the right height to grab that image and read that document out loud. So it generally is for somebody with low or no vision, but could be used for somebody who just needs to hear something instead of read it. So,
yeah,
and Seeing AI is free.
Yeah, that's awesome. Also a great stand for converting paper documents to digital documents with using OCR. Same idea.
Right. Yeah. So whatever you need your OCR for, it's a super cheap stand, and it's nice that it's portable. There's a variety out there, but this one you can put together. And I think if you saw, I was literally using extra pieces. So this is a straight piece and this is an angled piece. I just threw it together with what I had. And a lot of times you can just do that with your push fittings. One other thing I wanted to say about the push fittings is I get mine at Menards, and I can buy them in contractor packs of 10. And so they're especially the T's and the elbows, and they're really affordable that way. Because I know, most of us don't have tons of money, which is why we are hacking these things in the first place.
That was good. Right. Scout, I just got to throw out my little note. I was going to suggest that too. Contractor packs are the way to go.
Yes.
You're using so many of them.
Yeah, and it's nice to have them around. That's the thing, is that that I have a little a storage. I actually have an old copier in my office, and I store in the paper bins, and I just have like these packs of where do you find them? So when you go into any hardware store to get your PVC, they'll have the sticks, generally like in the back because they're super tall. But PVC pipe fittings, there'll be a whole row of them because they come in a million sizes and a million shapes. So you just go to the very smallest end and look for 1/2 inch push fittings and you know, and then like at Menards, they have the push fittings and then they have a little bin with contractor packs. So they're just right there.
Yeah. Home Depot, same thing. Lowe's, same thing.
Yeah. Right. That's what I assume.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to push one store over
No,
another.
me neither. We could have a whole separate webinar on what's better, but we don't have to. It made me, you made me dig up my stand, and I wanted to remind people that PVC is so awesome for just about anything. This is my green screen stand that all breaks apart. So when I don't need the green screen, I can store all the pieces, but these are the feet that sit on the ground. I have the poles, and then I bought a green screen fabric with a pocket at the top, and I just slide the PVC through it. So
Nice.
that's my plan.
You mean when people don't want to see Baby Yoda?
What's that?
So if you have big PVC like Mike just showed, you can cut it with a hacksaw.
Yeah.
There's probably other cutters out there, but a hacksaw is a super easy and pretty affordable way, you know, affordable tool and a good way to cut that.
Yeah, for sure.
All right.
Corey asked in the chat, a great question. Is the balloon invention for fun, to just show all the cool ideas you can do? If you would use it for some kind of activity for students though?
Yeah, so we have recently been able to purchase a large assortment of switches and like a power link and a few other, like a bubble blower and stuff like that for our state schools. And so we're really looking for ways to get the teachers involved. Some of the teachers aren't using any kind of switches with their kids. And so we're really trying to show fun ways to get kids involved with activities. And we liked the balloons because it's active, it's colorful, it's really engaging. So we've just been showing that right now to the state schools.
There's lots of ways you could build activities around that. It could be a counting activity for math. It could be a switch training activity. I mean, if you're just practicing switch training and location and things like that. Beth said in the chat, so many great language activities that you could get with the balloon tunnel, right? All the directions, go up, down, stop, more.
Right.
Yeah.
And the colors, you know, mix out colors. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yep. Also, I mean, every once in a while they escape. So that's another thing. You could have kids chasing balloons.
Yeah. And if you wanted to set it up like Scout and Naomi and I were talking about before we started, you could throw dollar bills in there and create one of those dollar bill things. That's just what I'm saying. You know, that feels incredibly motivating.
What to do with all that COVID money?
All that money, right? All that scary money I have. Adam had a good point, more on track with what we were saying. Thank you, Adam, for bringing us back. Put letters or words on the balloons and have it as a literacy activity. I think that's a great way to do it.
Yeah. You know, or have it just be one part of speech and, you know, like they're going to join with an and or an or something like that. Yeah. So yeah, all kinds of things. You know, any switch, of course, will work. Yes, kids could create the wind tunnel.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was super fun and it really is pretty easy to put together. This one's kind of tall. It could be shorter. You know, if you want things to fly out, you could do that. I don't even think we have it set on. Well, we might have it on high. I'm not even sure.
Yeah, you had it short where things flew out. It could be a bingo number caller. It could be letters for hangman.
Right.
Oh, I could spend all day in my office just shooting balloons out the top of it for various activities.
And Naomi better come and check on you because
that's it. Yeah, you can check in with a video to make sure I'm all right over here. That's awesome. Anybody else as we start to wind towards the end? Any other thoughts, questions, comments? Hopefully your takeaway from this And I'm excited that Scout presented it this way, which I think was awesome. So thank you. First of all, that was great. Um, it's simple to do these things. Take a chance and try. And you know what? If it falls apart and it's made out of cardboard, so what? It fell apart.
Yeah.
Glue some more on there. That's why I love the ruler idea. If things start to fall apart, glue something else under it. A ruler, get some paint stirrers from your hardware store
Right.
and glue those on the bottom, all that stuff.
Yeah, I'm very much into the keep it simple. But also, just try it. There's nothing that I've shown that's expensive. Um, you know, so I really just want people to just try a few things. But also if you have the right goggles, you can really start seeing things differently. And I ride my bike in and I look at the trash. I'm like, what are people throwing away? How could I use it?
You're a trash person looking for trash. Adam asked,
Right.
do you know of a better looking material instead of cardboard, like drywall cardboard?
What's that?
A better looking material to replace cardboard, like a drywall? You could use corrugated plastic. That has a nicer look to it.
The the corrugated the corrugated plastic works really well for that second stand.
Yeah.
And I do love I think this is called the Coral Claw. This cutter is super nice. I spent like 20 bucks on it, which to me felt a little outrageous for little sharp edges, but it makes the lines straight, and I could never do that. So I
Don't forget
do
any
like
of those low tech solutions. You want to jazz them up? Buy some duct tape with some prints on them, and just wrap them in printed duct tape. That gives it a nice look. Let people choose their own colors and patterns. That gives everybody a little buy-in too.
If you need grip on the bottom, sticky foam works great.
Sticky
Like
foam.
the sticky foam pages. I'm making paper turners right now as I'm listening to you guys talk. and a stand out of corrugated plastic.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Right. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Rebecca. That's great.
This is probably a group that we could hand around, and the next person could do it next week, and the next person next week. I think a lot of folks are making things as the need arises. So
for sure. Well, maybe we'll have to do this
contact Mike
again.
and do the next one.
Yeah, I was going to say we'll do it again. We'll give everybody a chance to play a little bit and create, and then maybe we'll do a show and tell.
Right.
Have people show their things. Why not? That'll be fun. All right, there it is. We have a couple ideas now.
All right.
Well, we'll let everybody get back to their day. Other final words before we wrap up today? I know we kept you a little later. Thanks for staying a little later. Appreciate it for sure.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Mike.
Awesome. Scout, thank you so much. Everybody, thank you. We'll see you again soon. We'll send the link to the recording out soon so everybody can watch it.
Yeah, check out the handout. It has all the directions.
For sure. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.